You have been advised. Eat fish. Fish is good for the heart, good for the brain, good for the joints. And you believe it. Yes, who wouldn't believe it when doctors advise? Newspapers praise it. Supermarkets label it. Fish is good for the heart. People call fish a golden food for the elderly. But there is a truth that few people dare to say. Not all fish are good fish. In fact, there are types of fish, very popular, very cheap and very easy to buy, that contain mercury, bad fats and toxic chemicals that are silently destroying the health of the elderly every day. You may have seen it without realizing it. Your hands start shaking when pouring water. Your knees ache every time you climb stairs. Your memory fades. You are talking suddenly. You can't remember what you were going to say. Then you tell yourself, maybe it's because I'm old. No, it's not. Maybe the fish you're eating is the culprit. In this video, I'll show you 4 types of fish that people over 60 should absolutely avoid, and 4 others that can help improve memory, reduce joint pain, and improve endurance, just by making a few changes to your weekly meal choices. Without further ado, let's get started. Number 4 is Basa. Basa is a popular choice among seniors. It's tender, easy to chew, and incredibly affordable. Many people find it a convenient source of protein, especially the frozen fillets that line supermarket freezers. But behind the low price tag lies a potential health risk, especially for seniors. Most frozen Basa sold in stores comes from large-scale industrial fish farms in countries with much laxer regulations on antibiotics and water quality. These fish are often raised in overcrowded, oxygen-deprived ponds, where farmers rely heavily on antibiotics, antifungals, and chemical additives to keep them alive. Those contaminants don't disappear when you cook the fish. They can sneak into your body and wreak havoc on your gut health. What's even more concerning is the fat content. Farmed Basa is low in omega-3s, but high in omega-6 fatty acids, the fatty acids that cause chronic inflammation when consumed in excess. For older adults who already struggle with joint pain, swelling, or high blood pressure, eating this fish regularly can exacerbate symptoms rather than help them. I remember Bernard, a 69-year-old retired factory worker from Houston. He prided himself on eating fish several times a week, mostly frozen Basa, believing it was a healthier alternative to red meat. But he came to our clinic complaining of persistent bloating, morning stiffness, and unpredictable spikes in blood pressure. When reviewed his diet and recommended switching to local wild-caught fish, like mackerel or salmon, the change was dramatic. Within 3 months, Bernard felt lighter, more mobile, and finally had his energy back. I never imagined that something as simple as switching fish could make such a big difference, he told me. This story reflects what science has confirmed. A 2020 report by the European Food Safety Authority found that 72% of imported Basa samples contained antibiotic residues, including substances banned in the EU, due to links to hormone disruption and cancer. Meanwhile, a 2019 study in Aquaculture Reports found that farmed Basa had 9 times more omega-6 than omega-3, a marker for inflammation and cardiovascular stress, especially in older adults. If you prefer whitefish, there are safer alternatives. Catfish, mackerel, or wild-caught freshwater fish, like salmon, are nutrient-dense without the chemicals. Choose fresh local sources whenever possible, and cook them gently, steaming, grilling with herbs, or simmering in a light broth. Avoid deep frying as it destroys healthy fats and causes inflammation. Basa fish itself isn't bad, it's the way we prepare it that makes it dangerous. If you're over 60, don't let a cheap piece of frozen fish be the silent reason you feel more tired, inflamed, or forgetful than you should. Your body deserves better fuel than that. Number 3 is king mackerel, and this one might surprise you. It's oily, meaty, and often praised as a brain-boosting fish. But beneath that healthy image is one of the highest concentrations of mercury found in any commonly eaten seafood. And for older adults, that's a serious red flag. Unlike smaller fish, king mackerel sits high on the food chain. It feeds on other fish and lives a long life, which means it accumulates mercury over time. Mercury doesn't just pass through the body like excess salt. It gets absorbed into tissues, crosses the blood-brain barrier, and settles in places like the brain, liver, and kidneys, where it quietly damages cells and nerves. In simple terms, mercury interferes with how your brain communicates. It disrupts neuron function, impairs memory, affects mood, and can even trigger tremors or balance problems that mimic early signs of Parkinson's. Cooking or grilling the fish doesn't remove the mercury. It's bound to the muscle tissue. I remember Marlene, a 68-year-old retired school teacher from Florida. She loved king mackerel steaks, grilled them twice a week, often with lemon and herbs. She told me it was her way of eating healthy without being boring. But over time she noticed her fingers felt numb. She couldn't recall names as quickly, and she began struggling with phone numbers she'd known for years. Her family thought it was aging, but blood tests told a different story. Mercury levels nearly triple the safe limit. We immediately cut out king mackerel and introduced safer, smaller fish like sardines, anchovies, and local trout. 6 months later, her mercury levels dropped by more than half. Her memory scores improved by 18%, and the tingling in her hands all but disappeared. Science backs this up. A joint analysis by the FDA and EPA found that king mackerel averages 0.73 parts per million of mercury, more than double the safety threshold for seniors and pregnant women. Another study published in Environmental Health Perspectives linked high dietary mercury intake with a 24% increased risk of mild cognitive impairment in older adults. If you enjoy mackerel, not all is lost, just avoid the word king. Instead, look for Atlantic mackerel or Pacific chub mackerel, both smaller species with significantly lower mercury levels. They still offer the omega-3 benefits without the toxic load. And remember, no cooking method can remove mercury. The only safe approach is to avoid the source. King mackerel may seem like a powerhouse fish, but for seniors it's more like a wolf in sheep's clothing. If you're over 60, your brain, nerves, and balance are already more vulnerable. Don't give mercury another opening. Number 2 is farmed salmon. Salmon has a golden reputation. For decades, it's been hailed as a superfood for heart health, brain function, and graceful aging. Doctors recommend it. Nutritionists celebrate it. And many older adults eat it several times a week, believing they're doing the right thing. But there's one detail that changes everything. Not all salmon is created equal. Nearly 70% of the salmon found in supermarkets today is farmed, raised in crowded offshore pens, fed an unnatural diet, and exposed to a range of contaminants. Unlike wild salmon that feed on krill and small marine organisms, farmed salmon are given processed pellets made from soy fish meal and sometimes poultry byproducts. This changes the nutritional profile entirely. Instead of being rich in clean, anti-inflammatory omega-3s, farmed salmon tends to be loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, the same kind that increase systemic inflammation. And for seniors battling joint stiffness, heart issues, or early cognitive decline, that's a dangerous switch. Even worse, multiple studies have found that farmed salmon can contain elevated levels of PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, industrial chemicals banned in the U.S. since 1979 due to their cancer-causing potential. These toxins accumulate in the fatty tissue of the fish and once eaten in your own body. Seniors are especially at risk because aging livers and kidneys can't detoxify as efficiently. Dennis, a 74-year-old retired bus driver from Chicago, is a case in point. He took great pride in his diet. 4 nights a week, salmon was on the dinner table, grilled, steamed, or mixed into a salad. But over time, he began to develop persistent skin rashes, high blood pressure, and a metallic taste in his mouth that wouldn't go away. Blood tests showed unusually high levels of PCBs, even though Dennis had never worked in an industrial setting. He was eventually advised to replace them with wild-caught sockeye salmon, cut his fish intake to twice a week, and focus on quality over quantity. Within a few months, the rash cleared, his blood pressure stabilized, and the metallic taste disappeared. This isn't anecdotal. A study published in Science analyzed farmed salmon from around the world and found that eating it more than once a month could exceed the World Health Organization's safety limits for toxic exposure. Another review linked long-term PCB accumulation to increased cancer risk, immune suppression, and metabolic dysfunction. If you enjoy salmon, don't give it up, just be selective. Look for labels like wild-caught Alaskan or sockeye salmon. These fish come from cleaner waters and feed naturally, resulting in better fat ratios and minimal contamination. Even canned wild salmon is a good option, as most are sourced responsibly and retain nutritional value. And whatever you do, skip the bargain bin frozen fillets with vague labels. If it doesn't clearly say wild-caught, assume it's farmed. Farmed salmon may wear the mask of a health food, but for seniors, it can quietly accelerate the very decline it promises to prevent. Choose wisely, and your heart, joints, and brain will thank you. Number 1 is swordfish. At first glance, swordfish seems like a luxurious and smart choice. It's thick, flavorful, and often found on the menu of upscale restaurants or weekend BBQs. For many older adults, it feels like an upgrade, high in protein, low in carbs, and more exciting than steamed tilapia. But beneath that firm, meaty texture is one of the most dangerous fish a person over 60 could put on their plate. The danger lies in how swordfish lives. It's an apex predator sitting at the very top of the food chain. Over its long life, it consumes dozens of smaller fish that each carry traces of mercury. By the time swordfish reaches adulthood, it has accumulated some of the highest levels of mercury found in any commercial fish. And mercury is not something the human body can just flush out. It binds to tissues, especially in the brain, heart, and kidneys, and interferes with the way cells communicate. In older adults whose detox systems are already slowing down, mercury builds up even faster. The result: foggy memory, trembling hands, heart rhythm changes, or tingling in the feet that many mistake for just getting older. There was a case reported of a 69-year-old man in Texas, a retired airline pilot who regularly grilled swordfish steaks twice a week. He believed it was helping him stay sharp. Over time, he began experiencing arrhythmia, numb fingers, and increasing fatigue. Eventually, he collapsed during a family barbecue. Hospital tests revealed mercury levels 4 times above safe limits. Once swordfish was removed from his diet and replaced with lower mercury options like sardines and wild salmon, his symptoms gradually reversed over the next few months. These kinds of cases are not isolated. According to FDA testing, swordfish contains on average 0.995 parts per million of mercury, which is nearly 10 times higher than safer fish like wild salmon. Just one meal can exceed the EPA's entire weekly mercury limit for older adults. And it's important to note, cooking doesn't reduce mercury. You can't grill it off, boil it out, or detox it away. The only safe strategy is simple: don't eat it. If you enjoy bold, flavorful fish, there are safer alternatives. Wild trout, sardines, herring, and wild-caught salmon offer similar richness without the toxic burden. These smaller fish live shorter lives, eat low on the food chain, and remain virtually mercury-free, making them safer for frequent consumption, even daily. Swordfish might look like a healthy indulgence, but for seniors, it could quietly contribute to the very problems they're trying to avoid: memory loss, fatigue, joint pain, and heart trouble. And the scariest part is you'd never know it was the fish unless someone told you. Now you know. Let's move on to 4 types that help improve your health. Number 4 is anchovies. Anchovies don't look like much. They're tiny, salty, and often overlooked, hidden in Caesar salads or mashed into pasta sauces. But for adults, over 60, anchovies are one of the most underrated powerhouses in the sea. What makes them special is how they live. Anchovies feed low on the food chain, mostly on plankton, and have short lifespans. That means they don't have time to accumulate mercury, heavy metals, or industrial pollutants the way larger fish do. In fact, anchovies are considered one of the cleanest fish available, even safer than most organic seafood options. But their size doesn't limit their value. Anchovies are rich in DHA, a type of omega-3 fatty acid that gets directly incorporated into the membranes of brain cells. This matters because as people age, those membranes start to thin and lose efficiency. A diet rich in DHA helps reinforce the brain's wiring, improving memory, recall, mood stability, and mental clarity. One study published in Nutrients followed older adults who regularly consumed anchovy-rich diets. The results were striking. Their memory recall scores were 19% higher than those who didn't eat anchovies at all. That difference is often the line between forgetting your daughter's birthday and remembering it with confidence. In addition, anchovies also offer a special bonus: natural calcium. Because their bones are soft and edible, each bite contains a perfect ratio of calcium and phosphorus, which helps maintain bone density without relying on pills or supplements. For seniors who are lactose intolerant or have sensitive stomachs, this is a powerful natural alternative. Take Grace, a 66-year-old retired librarian, for example. She struggled with early signs of osteoporosis, but couldn't tolerate calcium tablets. They upset her stomach. She started blending canned anchovies into her pasta sauces twice a week. A year later, her bone scan showed no further loss, and her walking posture noticeably improved. She called it a small fish with a quiet kind of magic. If you've avoided anchovies because of their strong taste, don't worry, there are easy ways to enjoy them. Soaking them in lemon juice or olive oil for 5 to 10 minutes mellows the saltiness. They're excellent when mashed into salad dressings, blended into tomato sauces, or even lightly grilled over toast. Just avoid frying. which damages their delicate omega-3 oils. Even canned anchovies retain full nutritional value, making them affordable and convenient. Just look for ones packed in olive oil or water, and steer clear of versions stored in soybean oil, which can counteract some of their anti-inflammatory benefits. Anchovies may be small, but for seniors they deliver big results for the brain, for the bones, and for the body's long-term resilience. Number 3 is sardines. Sardines don't have the glamour of salmon or the boldness of tuna. But what they lack in appearance they more than make up for in sheer nutritional firepower, especially for people over 60 who want to stay strong, sharp, and independent. Like anchovies, sardines live short lives and feed low on the food chain. That makes them naturally low in mercury and pollutants. But sardines bring even more to the table. They're packed with omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, calcium, and something most seniors don't even know they're missing: coenzyme Q10. CoQ10 is a compound your cells use to create energy. Your heart in particular depends on it to keep pumping efficiently. But by the time someone reaches their 70s, their CoQ10 levels may drop by up to 50%. Without enough, fatigue creeps in, muscles weaken, and the heart begins to struggle. A clinical study published in Atherosclerosis followed seniors who ate sardines at least twice a week. They experienced a 36% reduction in cardiovascular events, including heart attacks and strokes, compared to those who rarely ate them. That's not from medication. That's just from choosing the right fish. Sardines also help balance cholesterol. Their omega-3s lower triglycerides, fats that make blood thicker and harder to pump, while increasing HDL, the good cholesterol that keeps arteries clean. Victor, a 72-year-old retired carpenter, had been on cholesterol meds for years, but hated the side effects. His muscles ached constantly, and his energy levels were low. Reluctantly, he agreed to add sardines to his lunch 3 times a week, straight from the can with whole grain crackers and lemon. 6 months later, his triglycerides had dropped by 28%, and his HDL rose by 15%. He said he felt awake again, and for the first time in years, started walking after dinner with his wife. Sardines are also an incredible source of natural calcium and vitamin D, which work together to strengthen bones and reduce fracture risk, something every senior should be thinking about. To get the full benefits, choose sardines packed in water or olive oil, not soybean or vegetable oil. The latter are high in omega-6 and can undo some of the anti-inflammatory effects. If the taste is too strong, mash them into salads, blend into tomato sauces, or pair them with mustard or vinegar for a sharp, clean finish. Canned sardines are one of the most affordable superfoods on the planet, and they don't require fancy cooking or expensive prep. For seniors looking to protect their heart, support their joints, and stay active longer, sardines may be the simplest and most powerful food you're not eating yet. Number 2 is wild trout. Wild trout is often overshadowed by its flashier cousin salmon. But for seniors, this modest freshwater fish may be one of the best-kept secrets for protecting joints, calming inflammation, and sharpening focus, all without the contamination risks of larger, longer-living species. What makes trout special is how it's raised in nature. Unlike farmed fish fed on pellets and chemicals, wild trout feeds on natural aquatic life, insects, crustaceans, algae. That clean, natural diet gives wild trout a nutrient profile remarkably similar to wild salmon, high in omega-3s, low in omega-6s, and very low in mercury. The star nutrient here is EPA, a specific omega-3 fatty acid known for its powerful anti-inflammatory effects. As the body ages, low-grade inflammation builds silently in joints, arteries, and even the brain. That's why so many seniors wake up stiff, struggle with swollen knees, or feel mentally foggy after meals. EPA helps turn down the inflammation switch at the cellular level. One study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with higher EPA intake reported 25% less joint stiffness and significantly better mobility. That's not a theory, that's a measurable difference in how freely a person can move through their day. Then there's vitamin B12, a nutrient critical for nerve health and red blood cell formation. After age 60, the stomach often stops producing enough of the protein needed to absorb B12 properly. Low levels can cause fatigue, numbness, even memory problems that look like early dementia. Helena, a 70-year-old retired nurse, had all of these symptoms. Her feet tingled constantly. She was exhausted by midday. Blood tests showed a B12 deficiency, even though she ate meat regularly. After adding wild trout to her dinners twice a week, her levels bounced back within 3 months. The tingling faded. Wild trout is also incredibly safe. Unlike swordfish or king mackerel, it doesn't accumulate mercury because it lives a shorter life and feeds clean. That makes it a safe, nourishing option even for seniors who want to eat fish multiple times per week. To prepare it, try baking it with rosemary and lemon or lightly pan-searing in olive oil to preserve its delicate oils. Avoid overcooking as it can dry out the flesh and reduce nutrient retention. And whenever possible, choose wild-caught, not farmed, to ensure maximum benefits. Wild trout may not come with marketing buzz or flashy packaging, but for seniors seeking relief from pain fatigue or brain fog, it quietly delivers results that many prescription pills only promise. Number 1 is wild salmon. If there's one fish every senior should have on their plate, it's wild salmon. Unlike its farmed counterpart, wild salmon lives free in cold, clean waters, feeding on krill and small marine life. This natural lifestyle loads its flesh with clean, potent omega-3s as well as a unique antioxidant called astaxanthin, giving it that vibrant reddish-pink color. But the benefits go far beyond the color. For seniors, wild salmon is one of the few foods that supports both heart and brain health simultaneously. It lowers inflammation, strengthens blood vessels, protects memory, and even nourishes the skin and joints from the inside out. A landmark 5-year study published in Neurology followed older adults who ate wild salmon at least twice a week. The results were astonishing. Those participants had a 47% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease compared to those who rarely ate fish. That's nearly half the cases potentially delayed, softened, or avoided by a simple dietary shift. Wild salmon is also rich in astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant that's been shown to reduce oxidative stress by up to 38% in seniors. That means less joint pain, sharper vision, and slower skin aging, all from a natural pigment created in the ocean. There's a story of Eleanor, a 73-year-old retired pianist, who began experiencing brain fog and wrist pain. Her music, once fluid and effortless, became frustrating. She couldn't finish a full piece without stopping. After adding wild salmon to her meals 3 times a week, baked with lemon or added to salads, her energy returned. Her mind cleared. And her hands stopped aching long enough to finish an entire sonata for the first time in months. She said it felt like she had gotten 10 years back. And that's the magic of wild salmon. It doesn't work like a drug. It works like nourishment, rebuilding your brain, your heart, and your body's balance over time. If fresh wild salmon is too expensive or hard to find, canned versions, especially wild Alaskan sockeye, are still rich in nutrients and often more affordable. Bake it gently, grill it lightly, or flake it into a warm grain bowl. The key is low heat and clean seasoning, no deep frying, no heavy sauces that drown out the benefits. It's not just food, it's a form of protection. For memory. For strength. If you're over 60 and want to move through life with clarity, vitality, and peace of mind, start with this one simple habit: make wild salmon a regular part of your week. So there we have it, 4 fish that can secretly damage your heart and joints, and 4 others that can help people over 60 feel sharp, light, and steady again. The fish you choose to eat may just be a small detail in your daily meal. But for those over 60, the little details make a big difference. Choose the wrong one, and you may find yourself feeling tired after meals, more forgetful, or having unexplained aches and pains. But from today, you no longer have to fumble in the dark. You have the knowledge. Choose a good fish to start with, simple, easy to make, and to your taste. And if you have ever eaten one of these dangerous fish without knowing it, share it in the comments below. Your story could be a wake-up call or motivation for someone who's in the same position you were a year ago. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Because in the next video, we'll talk about foods that prevent memory loss and products that help restore memory. Hope you don't miss it. See you next time.